Hello everyone, welcome to Body Sense Pilates. What I would like to do for you today is to take you through of how to get your pelvis into what we call neutral, and also to use the pelvic floor muscles and your stomach muscles to give you a good strong core base to do your exercises with. So with your mat and head cushions, maybe a folded towel ready on your mat, drop and lower yourself down into what we call the relaxation position. So you've got your feet hip width apart, knees nicely apart, and hip width apart, and just relax your shoulders down onto the mat beneath. Bring your hands down onto the pelvis. If you want to, you can place your thumbs and your index fingers together to form like a triangle, and place your hands down onto the front of your pelvis. But do be aware, if you go for that position, that you're now not hunching and rounding the shoulders forward and lifting your elbows. So just sink them down. Personally, I prefer just to put some fingers around the front of my hips and thumbs around the back. So, pelvis in neutral. Let's just go through two incorrect positions to start off with. So first of all, I'm going to tilt my pelvis so the tailbone of the spine, the coccyx area, raises up, and I've tilted now that my lower back is fully down, pressed down into the mat. That can be called imprinted. So feel that you've got no space at all to put your thumbs or your fingers underneath your lower back. To go the other way, so now the pelvis is not level, you can see that my hands are pointing up towards between my legs. Then if I go the other way, then my tailbone will drop and press down into the mat, and my lower back raises, and as you can see, I'm going far enough for my rib cage to lift and my chin gets pulled into my chest. So that can be quite an uncomfortable position for many of us. So we come out of that position and gently rock the pelvis backwards and forwards without trying to press down through the feet. Just keep a natural weight through the feet. So as you rock the pelvis backwards and forwards, just make the movement smaller and smaller until you stop and you find that the pelvis is nice and level. So there's enough space for your thumbs or your fingers to go underneath your lower back, and you find, as I say in class and to one-to-one clients, try and have enough space for a little grape underneath your lower back, which is not going to be crushed. So that's your neutral position. The first part of your core stabilizing muscles, which I sometimes call zip and hollow. Zip is associated with your pelvic floor, like the drawing off of a zip on a fly pair of trousers. So the pelvic floor, ladies who have had children are obviously used to using the pelvic floor and know what to do, but for us men and ladies who haven't had a child or two, then I say, can you associate with the situation of where you're out and about and you're caught short, you want to spend a penny, so in other words, you want to go to the loo, but you need to stop yourself from going. So the pelvic floor is like a muscular sling deep within the pelvis between our legs, which helps to support the pelvis. So the way to work it, without gripping and tensing the cheeks of your bottom together, you kind of feel that you're closing off your back passage, lifting up through between the legs and just gently drawing, just softly, only about a third of your maximum contraction, feeling as though you're lifting up a sling between your legs. So do that on the outward breath, and then breathe in, release and let it go. Okay, so feel though, with your hands on your hips, that as you lift your pelvic floor, then you feel that the pelvis and the spine doesn't move. Okay, it can be very easy for people to lift the pelvic floor and flatten the lower back down into the mat at the same time. Also, do try and lift the pelvic floor as you breathe out rather than when you breathe in. It can be quite apparent that people like to lift the pelvic floor with the inward breath, but that can be associated with a shortness of breath, a shallow breath I should say. Okay, so that's the pelvic floor. So going into the stomach, we have a muscle that's called the transverse abdominal muscle that forms like a corset around our midriff and gives us a lot of postural strength and stability. So if you place your fingers like so, just offset slightly, and place them onto the front of your stomach, then as you keep the pelvis and the spine still, you breathe out and you find that your tummy gets pulled down and your fingers come in together so your tummy gets pulled down in towards the mat, towards the spine. As you breathe in, expand the rib cage to the side. So it's a nice width of the breath, like bird's wings opening. Then as you breathe out, again, close the waist as if a corset is being tightened. And you draw your stomach in towards the spine. Okay? That is again without any movement at all in your pelvis or your spine. So let's combine them both. So this is where zip and hollow comes from. So you breathe in, fill your lungs nice and wide, keeping the shoulders relaxed and soft. Then as you breathe out, begin to raise gently the pelvic floor, and then a moment of a second later, draw your navel towards your spine. Then, breathing in, and breathing out. Raise the pelvic floor, pull the stomach in. So I'll do just one more. Breathing in. Zip up and hollow with the rest of your body relaxed. And there's your pelvic floor, your stomach muscles working zip and hollow. So have a practice of that. It is a fundamental element of doing Pilates. Doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or right through to advanced, those are key parts of your basics of doing Pilates. So have a practice, and I hope to see you in class soon.